pickup or a full-size pickup, you should not be concerned about fuel mileage. Well, I'm here to tell you otherwise. You should follow your fuel mileage. You should know exactly what your truck's going to get. You know, it helps on the long runs, calculating your fuel ups and all that. I guess that's truckers talk. But let's take this truck for today, right? I had to do some business outside of town. Excuse me. Just a pickup truck, no trailer, nothing, right? 17.3. Some might say good, some might say bad. Well, you don't know what condition I was driving. You don't know exactly what I did. So I'm here to tell you that straight up on the highway, this truck always got 19 to 20 miles to the gallon. This morning, I was hanging out low 19s. Got into the mid 19s at certain points. Heck, I even saw 19.8 at a certain point. But the fact that I pulled over twice, once for half an hour, once for an hour, the fuel mileage down to 17.3, and that's perfectly fine. I know exactly why I'm where I'm at, and I knew exactly where I should be at. When I was calculating my fuel mileage, I calculated for about 18 miles to the gallon. I already subconsciously know that this thing should close the day at 18 miles to the gallon. It's just what it should be. Now, savings and plannings, that's all great, but the biggest key here is to keep an eye on the mechanics. Your truck might be maintained just fine, but something just might be off. For example, one thing that caught me off guard on my truck is I ended up putting, I call it a sock. I don't know what else I could label it. So it's really thin mesh you put over your intake filter to filter out all the big debris, typically bugs, bees and flies and all that out of your intake filter. Well, little did I know that mesh actually gets greasy and gets plugged. Even though my filter was like 7,000 miles, you know, it's a pretty big S&B filter. There's no business, no reason why that thing should be plugged at 7,000 miles. Well, that mesh got plugged up. So I started noticing a little bit of response delay. I'm like, oh, that's weird. No, zero thoughts of that sock, right? Then I got a message on my screen that says service intake filter. And my first thought was, oh man, my intake box is packed with snow because, you know, snow ice. It just so happened to be in that environment. So I popped the hood and I looked at it. I didn't really see any snow and ice on that filter. Kept driving. A couple days later, I got a message, service air filter. I was getting on it pretty hard. I'm like, alright, so my fuel mileage is off and I keep getting this message. Something must definitely be right? Just listen to what your vehicle is trying to tell you. But you're not always that lucky to get a message that tells you, hey, this is your issue. So after that message came up for the second time, I was definitely committed to pulling that filter off. And once I started disassembling the filter, I noticed the sock had a lot of dirt on it. And it didn't look plugged per se, or it didn't look caked, but it was pretty oily, which kind of weird. So I pulled the sock up, put it up against the light, and sure as heck, those holes are not even twice as small. They're quite a bit more than that. I mean, there's really no room for it to breathe. Put some dishwashing soap on my hand, started rubbing that, little net, and washed it out. That's just one example. But I knew something was coming because my truck wasn't performing, in a sense that a person could feel that. But also my fuel mileage wasn't that great. It was just a little under there. I think at that time, I ended up leaving town, and either it was 18.3 or 18.5 that I, did a straight up highway run. So I already knew something was brewing. I just couldn't put a finger on it. So that's why fuel mileage. Fuel mileage isn't all about mathematical formulas. Fuel mileage is about the mechanical state of your vehicle. If you know what the benchmark is, right? For example, on this truck, we learned that this thing hangs out about 19 to 20 just on the interstate at 75 miles an hour. And, when it started getting the low 18s, we knew something was coming because we know our vehicle. We know what it's supposed to get, what it got. Some will say you got fuel, winter fuel, summer fuel. Yeah, those play effect, but not as big as one would think. Don't dismiss it. It does play an effect. It does play a role, but not as tremendous as some might think. Anyways, fellas, record your data, know your stuff.